How to prevent wrist pain during push-ups. Wrist pain during push-ups is a relatively common complaint. If it's something you experience, try checking your form first to make sure you're not making a mistake that could be putting undue pressure on your wrists. If there aren't any errors in your form, or if you still have wrist pain after correcting those errors, there are ways you can modify the exercise to prevent wrist pain. However, you may want to consult a physician to ensure you don't have any wrist injuries that are causing the pain. Method 1. Perfecting your form. 1. Warm up your wrists and hands. You may have done a general warm-up before you started exercising, but if you plan to do push-ups, you should also warm up your wrists and hands, particularly if your wrists hurt during push-ups. To warm up your wrists and hands and build flexible strength in your wrists, hold out one hand and spread your fingers. One at a time, starting with your thumb. Rotate each digit a few times clockwise, then a few times counter-clockwise. Think of drawing circles with that digit. Focus on not moving any of your other fingers as you do this. If you can't draw circles with one finger without a finger near it moving, that indicates a weakness in your hand and wrist muscles that you should work on over time. Keep going with one hand, doing your best to have only the working digit moving. Then move on to the other hand. After completing this simple warm-up, your wrists and hands should feel warm, loose, and more invigorated than they were before you started. 2. Check your hand position. Placing your hands too wide, or too far out in front of you, can put additional pressure on your wrist. Turning your hands inward or outward also puts your wrists at an awkward angle that can lead to unnecessary strain. While in the position you normally are for push-ups, stop and look at your hands. They should be facing forward, with all parts of your hand and fingers firmly on the ground. If your palm is cupped or you're lifting your fingers, this puts all the pressure on the heel of your hand, which can cause wrist pain. Make sure your wrists are directly under your shoulders when your arms are fully extended, not forward or back. It can be helpful to have someone else observe your form to make sure your hands are in proper position, so they can help you adjust if necessary. 3. Avoid flaring your elbows out. As a beginner, you may have done push-ups by flaring your elbows out to the sides of your body rather than keeping them close and bending them back against your body. While you may have done this because it made it easier to do push-ups when you were just starting out, continuing to use this technique can lead to excessive strain on your wrists. Flaring out your elbows also can lead to elbow or shoulder injuries over time if not corrected. When you do push-ups, your elbows should bend back, close against your sides, at about a 45-degree angle. If you're unsure about your elbow position, do a few push-ups and have someone observe you and watch your elbows. They typically will be able to get a better perspective than you can. Practice the correct technique by pushing off from a wall while standing. This way you'll have a better understanding of how it feels for your elbows to be bending correctly. 4. Engage your core. Push-ups are not just an upper body exercise. If you're doing push-ups using only your upper body strength without engaging your core, you're putting extra pressure on your wrists, which can lead to wrist pain. When you do push-ups, you're not engaging your core correctly if any part of your body is moving later than another part. For example, if your hips are sagging or if your lower body raises after your upper body does. If you notice your back swaying, or an arch in your lower back, you may need to do additional exercises to build more strength in your core before you continue doing push-ups, so that you can do them correctly without causing undue pressure on your wrists. Doing planks rather than push-ups can help you build core strength. You may want to start with half planks, in which you come down to your forearms rather than your hands, which limits the pressure on your wrists. Method 2. Modifying the exercise. 1. Try rolling your wrists. Wrist rolling push-ups are easier on the wrists while simultaneously strengthening your wrists and forearms. With stronger wrists and forearms, you'll be able to do regular push-ups without wrist pain. Make a fist and start your push-up with your knuckles on the floor. Roll your fist forward, trying to touch the tip of your thumb to the floor. Your arms will be straight in that position. When you roll back, reverse the same rolling motion, but this time, try to get the base of your fist to the floor. Your elbow will bend, engaging your triceps, and you should feel a stretch in your wrists. To do a wrist rolling push-up, simply continue this rolling back and forth for the same number of repetitions you had planned for push-ups. You may want to start this push-up variation on all fours so that your body weight is more firmly supported. Gradually move your knees further and further back until you are able to do this variation in full push-up position on your toes. 2. Distribute your weight to your fingertips. To do this push-up variation, when you get into push-up position you want to pretend as though you're trying to hold a basketball, pushing into the floor with your fingertips. Keep your palm flat, not cupped. You're simply distributing your weight away from your wrists, which won't put as much pressure on your wrists to hold your weight or absorb the force of your push-ups. Be careful to keep your fingers flat as well, rather than curling them into the floor. Doing so can cause undue pressure to the finger joints. 3. Elevate your upper body. Changing the position in which you place your hands can help limit wrist pain during both push-ups and planks. Raising your upper body naturally lessens the percentage of your body weight that your hands and wrists are being made to support. For example, you can place your hands on a bench or a step that is raised a few inches over the ground. The rest of the movement is the same as with a normal push-up. Take care that you are still observing good form. Your elbows should be bending back, close to your body, and your back should remain flat so that your entire body moves, raises and lowers as one unit. 4. Use dumbbells. Holding dumbbells as you do push-ups will keep your wrists straight, putting less pressure on them. The size or weight of the dumbbell doesn't matter, since it will be resting on the floor. You just want something large enough for you to comfortably grip and that weighs enough it won't easily move as you exercise. Set one dumbbell under each shoulder. When you come down into push-up position, wrap your fingers around the handles of the dumbbells with your palms facing each other. If the handle of the dumbbell is burning your palms, wrap a small towel around them first to make them easier to grip. Method 3. Stretching and strengthening your wrists. 1. Do finger or palm pulses. Finger and palm pulses can help strengthen the muscles in your hands as well as your wrists. In addition to being used separately as a strengthening exercise, you also can use this as a warm-up for your hands, fingers, and forearms before doing push-ups. To do finger pulses, place your fingertips on the floor with your palms raised and pulse into them. You can do this while sitting or on all fours to support your weight. Don't do this from push-up position. Feel the finger flexors stretch and release with each pulse. Work smoothly through these pulses for a dozen or so repetitions. Palm pulses are similar to calf raises, in which you raise your heels, keeping your toes and the balls of your feet on the ground, except palm pulses are working your forearms. Strong forearms can help prevent wrist pain during push-ups. To do palm pulses, your hands should be flat and firm on the floor, directly below your shoulders as though you're doing a regular push-up. You can do this from your knees to support your weight. Raise your palms while keeping your fingers and the base of your knuckles on the floor, then smoothly lower. Do 12 to 24 repetitions of this exercise. 2. Release your wrists. Wrist releases can be performed either standing or sitting, and will help stretch your wrists and the muscles in your hands, loosening your wrists so they are better able to handle the pressure put on them when you do push-ups. Extend your right arm straight out in front of you, palm toward the ceiling. Flex your right wrist down and back so that your palm is now facing forward in front of you and your fingers are pointing down toward the ground. Spread your fingers, then use the fingers of your left hand to pull back on your thumb until you feel a stretch. Hold this position, breathing deeply and spreading your fingers. Your fingers may have a tendency to tense or curl up. Resist this tendency by continually focusing on keeping them spread out. After a few breaths, release your thumb and move on to your pointer finger. Continue the same action for all fingers on your right hand, then lower your right arm and extend your left arm to do the same thing. 3. Try the gorilla pose. There is a yoga pose that can help you stretch out and strengthen your wrists. The gorilla pose is a deep forward bend ending with your hands palm up under the soles of your feet. Stand with your feet about hip-width apart. Fold forward from your hips, bending your knees as much as you need to so you can place your hands firmly on the ground. Bend your wrists inward so that the backs of your hands are resting on the ground and your hands are palm up. Lift your toes and slide your hands under your feet. Your fingers should be pointing toward your heels. As you breathe deeply, massage your wrist creases with your toes. Stay in this position for as long as 20 breaths before returning to stand. 4. Improve the range of motion in your wrists. The muscles and tendons in your hands and forearms move your wrists and the joints in your fingers. Regularly doing range of motion exercises can help prevent wrist pain during push-ups. Do these exercises with one wrist at a time, making sure you switch and do the other. Use a rolled up towel on the edge of a table for cushioning, and lay your forearm across the table so that your hand is hanging just off the edge. Slowly move your hand upward until you feel a stretch, hold the stretch for 5 to 10 seconds, then release to your starting position. Do 10 repetitions of this exercise, then turn your arm over so that your palm is facing up and do another 10 repetitions of the same exercise. You can work on your wrists supination and pronation by standing or sitting with your elbow bent at a 90-degree angle, so your palm is facing the ground. Rotate your forearm to turn your palm face up, hold for 5 to 10 seconds, then rotate it back down. Do 10 repetitions of this exercise. Ulnar and radial deviation is the sideways movement of your wrist. Using the rolled up towel on the edge of a table again, rest your forearm across the table with your hand on its side, as though you are about to shake hands with someone. Move the hand up until you feel a stretch, hold it for 5 to 10 seconds, then lower it to the center. Then move your hand down until you feel a stretch. Hold that stretch also for 5 to 10 seconds before raising to center. That's 1 repetition. You should do 10 repetitions with each wrist. 5. Build strength in your hands and fingers. Doing strengthening exercises for the muscles and tendons in your hands and fingers allows them to support more of your body weight when you are in push-up position, putting less pressure on your wrists. Holding your hand up in front of you with fingers spread and your thumb pointed outward, move your thumb slowly across your palm. Hold for 5 to 10 seconds, then release back to the starting point. Do 10 repetitions of this exercise to work on your thumb's flexion and extension. Hold one hand out and extend the fingers straight out, as though you are signing for someone to stop. Make a hook fist, holding it for 5 to 10 seconds, then return to a straight hand. Make a full fist, hold it for 5 to 10 seconds, then return to a straight hand. Finally, make a straight fist, the same as a full fist, except that your fingers are flat over your palm rather than curled in. Hold it for 5 to 10 seconds, then return to a straight hand. Do 10 repetitions of the full set of exercises, then repeat with the other hand.